This is James Luxon, delighted to be joined on Zoom today with Caolan Loughran. Caolan, how you doing?
How about that? How are you?
Yeah, very good, Tar. Very good, thank you. Um, Before we sort of mention your next fight, it's a big fight. I want to go back to the beginning a little bit. Obviously, you're currently a fighter with Cage Warriors. How did you get into the MMA scene?
Uh, well, I had done boxing as a kid when I was younger on the side of a sport in Ireland called Gaelic football. I don't know if you know it. It's like where I'm from. It's really the only sport you have as a kid in schools. You play Gaelic football, maybe a bit of soccer, but not really. You play Gaelic football, then there's boxing big. So everyone's kind of done both where I'm from. But I was more to the side of football as a kid. Started getting some pretty rough injuries in my mid-teens. So around about that time, there was obviously the whole McGregor explosion in Ireland, and MMA was getting very big. So when I was injured, I was getting very fucking sick of the rehab. So I'd done a bit of boxing, and I thought I'm gonna give this MMA a go, and then never went back to football. That
So
got me in.
you mentioned obviously the McGregor explosion. How much
Yeah,
influence was Conor McGregor on MMA in Ireland?
MMA as a sport, he took it to the whole next level. Let alone in Ireland. In Ireland, it was crazy. They were mental things. Like I just remember being in school and talking about the McGregor fights coming up. The buzz about them was unreal. I actually only really have one regret. It was when I was in school not going to UFC Dublin. I just couldn't afford a ticket as a I just couldn't afford. I had no money as a school. I couldn't afford a ticket. That's really my only regret not going to that. I wish I had a bit. Well, I couldn't afford to go to Dublin, let alone going to some of the Vegas fight nights. But I'd have loved if I had got that one of his fights in his prime. It just would have been special to be a part of it. It was crazy time, and obviously MMA just got just blew up in Ireland. Like if you go to the Irish, like the amateur fights I was fighting in Ireland, like the BBC was covering one of my amateur fights. I swear to God, I just sit down to the BBC doing face to face, like as an amateur, in the selling out the Ulster Hall. Like, but that's all because of the interest he brought to the sport. And I feel there's been a bit of a lull in Irish MMA in the last few years. But it's obviously now you've been in the UFC, there's a couple of guys at the top of Cage Wars. I think we're on the precipice of something special very, very soon again.
Just take it back to a moment ago, they mentioned you want to amateur fights on the BBC, being interviewed, etc. by BBC. What was that
Yeah.
like for you at that stage?
It was mad. It was fucking mental. There's for like amateur titles, and I've got the fucking white people I'm seeing on TV are interviewing me before the fight. I was what the fuck's actually going on here? Is it an amateur fight? Uh, the crowds and stuff. It was crazy. It was some experience as like a novice essentially to be getting that type of publicity and them type of eyes on you. Uh, Learned a lot from that. Learned a lot from that fight. Uh, Crazy experience. Just that experience that probably a lot of people don't get coming up in countries outside of Ireland. Even now, still the shows are fucking. The crowds are packed. The interest is high.
Do you think that one particular fight with the BBC and that, like you say, publicity, etc., do you think that motivated you or give you an extra sort of spur to continue doing this and take it seriously?
Yeah, absolutely. I lost my fight after. I stupid kid. Was 21. Thought it was Johnny Big Balls. Thought it was probably the best lesson I ever got in my life. I tell you, I've actually never said this like publicly. I got that fight and got all like a lot of hype around where I was from locally, and I left that and like as an amateur, that's how stupid I was. Like at 21 year people were like going like in nightclubs where I was from and looking fools with me and stuff. After and I thought I was Johnny Big Balls. Went to America after, came back fat out of shape. I'd been training out in America, but not properly, and then lost. And that was probably the best experience I ever took from my life in any MMA ever. If I could grab myself, I thought just to punch the fucking head off myself. But it was maybe a lesson that someone has to learn. I got like really low key. I got that like early. So it was like probably a really good lesson because now, as I say, I'm doing this Cage Wars fight and it's Cage Wars title fight, and I've done an interview every day for the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 days. The interest is high. I already have like 60 lads coming over from Ireland. People I don't even know are coming flying over from Ireland to come to this. So I don't give a fuck about any of that. I don't care. It means nothing. It was a lesson I learned from that. So I probably would inspire some people getting that hype early, but that's what I took from it. It's all absolute bullshit, to be honest.
You mentioned there, so you've had interviews daily for the last week or so. Because you obviously you get into that stage now where you're on the big stage with Cage Warriors, you've got your title fight coming up. You are
Yeah.
getting the publicity and the more sort of people have seen you, getting more eyes on yourself. Does that bring
Yeah.
added pressure going forward in your career?
And no, I don't understand this with pressure. It's like I don't even go to the cage with pressure. It's like I do this because I love it. If I wanted to pack, if this was all too much pressure, if I was walking the cage and thought, "Geez, this is mental," or this, I wouldn't do it. I do it because I genuinely enjoy competition. I love fighting. I love fighting. I love the lifestyle. I love the training camp at the minute is absolutely disgusting. It's the hardest ever. Like my body is put my body through it. And probably a lot of people would enjoy that, but I love it. I love the grind. I love competition. I love fighting it. So pressure and eyes on me, and I obviously talk big about myself, which probably puts some more so-called pressure on me. I don't feel it. I honestly don't feel it. I see that buzz of like bare chest into the cage, bright lights are on, crowd around you. It's like a drug, and I swear, like I can't replicate it in anything else. I can't even get close. I love it. I absolutely love it. I am 100% addicted to it, and I don't know what to do after retirement because there's nothing compares to it. So I don't see pressure. I genuinely love it. I genuinely love fighting it.
Tell me how you went from Ireland to training in Manchester.
Liverpool, but
Sorry, yeah.
Liverpool, yeah. Uh, well, the gym I'm in has the most UFC fighters of any gym in this part of the world. Team Caolan and Conor Loughran. We're now actually joined together with four corners with John Gillies. You might know, like Callum and Liam Smith come here out of camp. They have Paz, Liam Harrison, the world class Thai boxer comes here. Big names come here. The two gyms come together. So it's really a super camp over here in Liverpool. And I'm here for the high level training. How I originally got involved was that fight I'm talking about where I lost because I got a bit of hype from the title fight before that as an amateur in Ireland, and then I lost. And then one of the grappling coaches here and former fighters, Ali McLean, messaged me after I lost. It was actually the same night Darren Till lost to Tyrone Woodley in the world title fight. It was the biggest night in the gym's history. And I lost there, obviously, in like Dallas time, I lost UK time. And he dropped me a message that day. And that meant a lot to me. It's the first time I messaged him, or I got in contact with him about how I was just making technical errors and how I could win these fights stuff. I can go. He thought I could beat that game and go further. And then at the end of the year, he messaged back and said basically he thinks I should come train here. And I didn't even think about it twice. I was like, I was on a loss. My wrestling wasn't good enough. You could be home and you could be the big man in your wee area, or you can go sleep in the gym and you can go live the fucking life and train with the most proven coach from this part of the world. In my opinion, the best, most knowledgeable coach in the world. Or you can have it easy and be the big man in your gym back home. I went and just got away from everything. Came here to literally didn't know one person. Didn't have. I think I had about £100 in the bank. Had no job, no anything. One way flight to Liverpool, and I feel after coming into 5 years now, I'm starting to really reap the rewards of that. The confidence and skill level and all is at an all time high, and it's because I'm sorry, it's because I'm here. This gym's next level. Simple as that.
So from Ireland to Liverpool and next to Rome.
Yeah,
Big title fight. You're
yeah,
fighting Dylan Hazan, both
yeah,
undefeated. Um, I think that brings an added bit of hype to the fight as well. You're both undefeated. Just how
absolutely.
certain are you for the fight?
Oh, unbelievable. Even like again, I don't put too much. I don't make things bigger than they are, but like everything's on the line. The cage wars put up the other day. The stakes couldn't be higher. I believe the UFC will come to the winner. But I don't even think about the UFC here. I'm not even thinking about the cage wars belt. It's the guy I'm fighting. It just as a martial artist and as a fighter, like his style, his technique, and how I can counteract his technique and enforce my game on him. So I'm a pressure counter fighter. I look for holes of tendencies. That's what I'm looking for. I want to win over him more than I want a cage wars title and all this here at the minute. It's like I really want to be. I want to take his O. I know how good he is. I know how easy he's made cage wars look. Similar, I know how easy I've made cage wars look. So the two of us together, in my opinion, is the highest level bantamweight fight in Europe outside of anyone saying the UFC. So let's do it, lad. Let's say cage wars. Say stakes couldn't be higher. Cage wars belt, UFC contract potentially. Let's fucking do it, lad. I can't wait. I can't wait to fight him. I can't wait for the moment of like, because he's gonna have a. I'm going into enemy territory. Like I'm going into fucking Rocky Four in my head. You know what I mean? I keep watching the Rocky Four training, training scene. I keep watching it over and over because it generally just resonates because I'm going into his hometown and stuff. But I can't wait for that moment, like the referee to say, or us to come in the middle and eye to eye in that like fucking pandemonium of a Italian Irish crowd around. I just can't wait. I cannot wait to fight him.
You just mentioned there about the moments before the first bell goes. What
Mm.
about the moments when the final bell goes and when you get your hand raised? What is that feeling of victory like?
Uh, I don't know because I'm not that. I'd say this one could be different. Like the last one, I try not to get too high on these things because I feel like if there's a high, the next week there's always a low. Do you know what I mean? I just try to keep it all like even in the build up in the camp. The guy I'm fighting, he fights like a fucking ape. Like he essentially, he goes mad. He comes at you, and once he gets a hold of you, like I'm sure if an ape got a hold of me, it'd be hard to get a fucking ape off me. Do you know what I mean? That's essentially what he is. He's a wrestler. He's a massive grip, but he just swings and he comes out like an absolute man. He comes out. He literally came out that hyped up for the last Roman show. He sprinted out and he ripped his shorts off on the side of the. He was so like wound up, like he's so. But I couldn't be more the opposite. And I think that's going to play into my hands of a 25-minute title fight. Like he's going to be backstage punching fucking walls, getting wired. I don't really get that. I'd be calm, I fight calm, and then after that, I like to say here and sit there, I'll be calm, but like with where the with what the win comes this time, I'll just I probably won't be. I'll probably go a bit nuts. But no, it's just not a title fight, lad. I believe I'm destined for much bigger fights in the UFC than this, if I'm being honest. But this is the Cage Wars goal. The Cage Wars title's been a goal for a long time, so it'll be nice. Like it'll be nice to get the belt. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And my next question, when I said I don't mean this any disrespect by this question to Cage Warriors, but also we've seen a lot of people come through Cage Warriors into the UFC,
Mm-hmm.
and the Cage Warriors title is almost like a stepping stone onto the
Absolutely,
the massive stage. You know, I think it's no secret to anybody, including Cage Warriors, that UFC is the platform for MMA.
absolutely.
In terms of yourself, is that always been the dream? Is that something that you have sort of looked at since the days of a kid when McGregor explosion you mentioned earlier?
Absolutely. I didn't. I was watching MMA for years before I even knew what Bellator was or these other ones. That's me being hunting honest. It's been the UFC. It will always be the UFC. Recently, the PFL have grown up in the UK and saying like guys, they tried to buy me out of my Cage Wars contract the start of this year to sign with them. Offered me a big sign-on bonus and the potential to make a lot of money. It, it wasn't even an option because this is the way it's done from this part of the world. You win a Cage Wars title, you make yourself the number one guy in Europe, and you go to the UFC. That's been my goal. Money's not everything. In the UFC, you make the big dough, absolutely, but it's not everything. I have goals, and Cage Wars title to the UFC has always been my goal, and I'll never deviate from that. That's what I want to do. That's what I'm doing. Simple as that. Do you know what I mean?
You mentioned you've got your goals. Obviously, every fighter, their ultimate aim is to win a world title at the highest level. So for yourself, with the UFC world title, But apart from that, what do you want to look back on your career and say 10, 15 years time and say you're proud of doing this?
I want to fight in the UFC in Ireland, absolutely. And me as a bantamweight, I want to go down as one of Ireland's all-time greats. I want to be the guy who walks into an Irish bar in New York in 25 years time, Sydney, anywhere in the world, and someone says there's, I don't have to tell anybody that one of these come to the bars and saying I was Caolan Loughran and I said none of that shit. When I was people know what the fuck there's Caolan Loughran. I remember the night he fought Sean O'Malley in Vegas and done this year. I was here when that happened. I remember the night Caolan Loughran fucking knocked out Sean Yudong or Umar Nurmagomedov, these guys coming up. I was here, he done this. He was a fucking animal. He was a deadly fighter. That's what I want to be, one of Ireland's all time greats. Like with all the names, like with right back from Steve Collins, Conor McGregor, now Michael Collins, Taylor. I want to go to the top of the UFC and be one of Ireland's greats. That's my goal. Absolutely, that's my goal.
And just finally, last question from me. You mentioned at the start of the call, you started out doing a bit of boxing, and you mentioned about the influence Conor McGregor had on Ireland and MMA in general. But in
Yeah.
terms of boxing, obviously today has been a press conference for Katie Taylor. She's got her homecoming coming up soon. Just how big impact has she had on the country and sport in general?
I was literally down in St. Paddy's Day. I obviously don't be drinking, and I guess I never drink up the fights, and I guess here. But I was talking to some lad, an Irish guy from Offaly, was who lives in America, and he was over for the weekend for St. Paddy's Day, and he's a big boxing fan, and he's a Gaelic football fan, but he mentioned Katie Taylor, and then he sat and he must have talked to me for 25 minutes. About he almost looked he's about to cry. He's like, I'm so proud of her and all this here. He's so like disappointed that the GAA had put the price so he couldn't get Crow Park. She's a fucking like I couldn't see in the next 50 years a woman being like that in Ireland. Her skill level is unbelievable, and she's so modest, so down to earth. She's well, she's loved in Ireland. Like she's one of the probably the most famous people in Ireland. To be honest, Katie Taylor, she's a special woman, special woman.
Absolutely. Well, Keelan, I'll let you go, but thank you very much for your time. All the best of luck for your fight in Rome down in May, and we'll speak again soon.
Anytime, lad.